Hi, my name is David P. Shapiro. I'm the owner and managing partner of the law office David P. Shapiro, located in San Diego, California, where my firm helps good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. This video, I want to talk about the arrest of former New England Patriots star, a linebacker, USC star linebacker, and current, at least for the time being, NFL Network commentator Willie McGinest in Los Angeles on Monday, December 19th, for an incident that occurred on December 9th. And what we've already seen from this incident is the video surveillance from a restaurant, a place called Delilah in West Hollywood in Los Angeles, where you see someone who appears to be Willie McGinest approach another individual who's seated in like a booth at the restaurant. Brief words are exchanged. McGinest hits him in the face with his left hand, at least someone who we believe is Willie McGinest. And then a melee ensues where multiple people appear to be ganging up on this one individual, punching him, kicking him, so on and so forth. And at one point, you actually see McGinest sort of step away from the melee and grab a bottle and sort of uppercut the individual with the bottle in his hand, and then put the bottle down on a nearby bench or a nearby booth. And, all of this is problematic, understanding that obviously, whoever those individuals are, including but not limited to obviously Willie McGinest, are presumed innocent. There may very well be a defense. It's a little bit difficult to think of one off the top of your head without being intimately familiar with the situation and only looking at the surveillance video. Because again, what that surveillance video shows are words exchanged. Not sure what, if anything, happened earlier. Not sure what, if anything, was said earlier, as in that night, that week, that month, if the two individuals or their group knew each other or not. But the video does not look good. And what has happened right now is when McGinest apparently went in for questioning, is what's being reported by LAPD on Monday, December 9th. He wound up getting arrested at the conclusion of that interview, posted $30,000 bond, which is standard for the charge that he was booked into jail on, which is Penal Code Section 245, parentheses A, parentheses 1, which is assault with a deadly weapon, and will have a future court date either in December or the early portion of 2023, assuming the district attorney's office decides to file charges. Now, what does this mean for Willie McGinest? What does this mean for his defense team? What is the district attorney considering charging him with? Well, what he was booked into jail on was an alleged violation of 245A1 of the Penal Code. That's assault with a deadly weapon. That is a serious felony in the state of California. So if he's charged with it, if he's convicted of it as a felony, he will have suffered a strike felony conviction, and irrespective of the injuries, would be facing at least in-state prison. Now, in all likelihood, he probably would not get that amount of time, assuming he's convicted of anything, but it's important to note. What's also significant are the extent of the injuries of the person who was ultimately assaulted, right? Were these minor bruises, maybe a little blood, or was there significant, or what the law defined as great or serious bodily injury? Because if so, that could lead to a whole slew of other charges, notably Penal Code Section 245A4, assault by means of force likely to produce great bodily injury. The theory being it could have been the fist, it could have been the repeated punching, the kicking, what have you. And then also 243D of the Penal Code, which is battery causing serious injury, which in and of itself would be a strike. The biggest concern that someone like Willie McGinest has right now is if there was in fact great bodily injury sustained, or certainly at least alleged by the prosecutor, because if that's the case, that will likely tack on at least 3 years of potential exposure, and then he would be facing up to 7 years at about 80 to 85% on a violent felony if he were to be convicted, and if he were to be sent to state prison of a sentence of 16 months and up on these facts. Very early in the process, understanding obviously he is presumed to be innocent unless and until proven guilty in court, or unless he were to plead guilty or go to trial and be convicted of a jury. These things usually will take plenty of time. Certainly they do in San Diego, to flush out the issues and to make sure that a fair result is obtained for everyone. But someone like Willie McGinest has these collateral consequences of even just being seen on video. Again, assuming that was in fact him. He has issues with NFL Network now. He has issues with future endorsement deals. He has issues with pretty much anything and everything, reaping the benefits of his successful playing career and any opportunities for marketing, speaking events, so on and so forth, because the video is not good, right? And that's something you have to keep in mind. no matter where you are, a lot of times there's going to be a video of it, right? So you think you're being discreet and tossing a bottle on a nearby bench after you hit the guy in the head with it. The reality is, in a restaurant, especially a nice restaurant like Delilah, is going to have a pretty good security camera, is likely going to have security on site. So there's going to be witnesses to these things. I'm not sure the extent or the scope or the reasoning behind going in, assuming he was in fact going in for questioning on Monday, December 19th at LAPD, or if he was going in to proactively surrender. That'll probably be fleshed out over time. But again, there's not much of a benefit to go in there and talk and give an explanation when the video is in all likelihood going to get you arrested. So it's always best, to keep your mouth closed, unless a quality, locally experienced criminal defense attorney suggests otherwise. You still want to think about that. You still want to talk about it. What is being gained by speaking to the police? What is being gained by making a public statement, especially in a case like this where, due to the extent of the injuries, if they are serious, if they are great bodily injury as defined in California law, Willie McGinest could be facing a violent strike felony conviction here than what we saw. Now, obviously, I'm sure there's a lot to the story here that is not captured in a video surveillance, but it'll be very interesting to follow this case. We'll provide some updates throughout the course of major steps in the case against Willie McGinest, assuming the district attorney does in fact file criminal charges against him over the course of the next couple of weeks. So if you have any questions about this case, anything involving assault with causing great bodily injury, battery causing serious bodily injury, or assault with a deadly weapon, particularly in San Diego, my firm's just one phone call away. We can always be reached at 619-295-3555. Again, David Shapiro, San Diego criminal lawyer, 619-295-3555.